Reporting from Israel for EndTimes.com, this is Brian Schrauger. It appears the attack from Iran and its proxies will begin very soon, perhaps in a matter of hours. As I record this report on Monday, 12 August, it has been 12 days since the assassinations of Hamas's #1 leader, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran, and Hezbollah's #2 leader, Fouad Schrauger, in Beirut. Hezbollah's General Secretary Hassan Nasrallah and Iran's so-called Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei immediately pledged a devastating response. For its part, Tehran summoned leaders of its proxies, including Hezbollah, to plan a coordinated attack. In essence, they pledged, "It will happen any time." The world took the threat very seriously. Except for Israel's national carrier El Al, all airlines stopped flights to and from Israel. Most Western countries strongly recommended their citizens leave the region. At the same time, the US, France, and Canada immediately sent carriers, battleships, fighter jets, troops, at least one ballistic missile submarine, and more to the waters of the Middle East. But 12 days later, the attack still has not happened. In the world of today's news, 12 days is a long time. It's no surprise then that in Western media, the promised attack has all but disappeared from front pages and leading stories. It has not disappeared, however, from the minds of Israelis. Sleeplessness is a nationwide phenomenon. Anxiety is ubiquitous. Food stocks have been replenished, water too. Many have purchased a generator. Yes, life goes on. People go to work, socialize, hang out at the beach. But everywhere and always, with an eye to the skies, ears listening for sirens, awareness of the nearest shelter, and a fastidious attention to the latest news. On Saturday night, 10 August, Hezbollah sent a huge barrage of rockets, missiles, and drones into northern Israel, penetrating as far as central Galilee. Was this the beginning? It wasn't. Perhaps it was Hezbollah's way of putting its toe in the water to test for a reaction? Still, 12 days. Why hasn't the attack happened yet? Will it still happen? If so, when? Israeli news outlets are full of speculation. Intelligence sources report that Iran's new president, Masoud Pezeshkian, has been so worried about devastation to Iran's economy, he has made every effort to reduce the scope and intensity of the attack. Iran's IRGC, similar to Nazi Germany's Gestapo and SS, angrily reject Pezeshkian's plea. For his part, the Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, who will make the final decision, is said to have been non-committal in response to Pezeshkian's plea. Some speculate that Hezbollah in Lebanon may act independently of Tehran, launching an attack on its own. After all, Hezbollah is said to have a larger arsenal of rockets and missiles than 95% of conventional militaries in the world. And for several years, it has published clear military plans to invade Israel. Others argue, Israel should preemptively strike. What are we waiting for? Apart from its heavily fortified nuclear development sites, Iran's economy could easily be ground to a halt by striking its shipyards in Bandar Abbas on the shores of the Strait of Hormuz. And its tiny island Khark in the Persian Gulf is an easy target to take out the country's primary oil export facilities. In a similar vein, Lebanon's economy is in shambles. Inflation is running at more than 200%. In the last 12 days alone, residents have fled the capital city of Beirut, fearing a war with Israel. Rural residential options have skyrocketed in price, forcing many who have fled Beirut into homelessness. Israel could cripple the economy even more by canceling its October 2022 gas agreement when it surrendered a portion of its rights to the Karish gas fields in the Mediterranean. It could also take out Lebanon's commercial airports or target its power grid before Hezbollah cripples Israel's power grid with an EMP weapon. Why hasn't Israel launched any preemptive attacks? Prevailing wisdom here points the finger at the United States, which purportedly is forbidding Israel to make any kind of preemptive strike. Israel complies, it is said, because it is so dependent on U.S. military support, especially in an inevitable future attack to cripple Iran's nuclear program. The underlying philosophy behind Israel's ongoing hesitation to act decisively is the presupposition that if the West, if Israel, kick the can down the road long enough, Israel's enemies will quiet down and eventually come around to living in peace and harmony with the Jewish state. Advocates of this doctrine point to Israel's Abraham Accords as proof that once hostile neighbors can become friendly allies. The fatal flaw of a kick-the-can foreign policy is that it completely ignores the central doctrine of Iran's imams that the appearance of their Messiah, their Mahdi, is imminent. When he appears, they believe at any time. They also believe he will defeat all the enemies of Islam and establish a global fundamentalist Islamic caliphate, a one-world government that will bring the entire world into compliance with Allah and His Quran. The centrality of this fervent belief is easily found with a cursory look into the official website of Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. All one has to do is go to the English version of the website and search the name Mahdi, M-A-H-D-I. He is invoked in every public speech, every government gathering, every military action. Take a careful look at this 2-minute video produced by the so-called Supreme Leader of Iran. The centrality of an Islamic Messiah is impossible to miss. Note, too, that the portrayal of the quote-unquote evil the Mahdi will defeat is largely Israel, and that his liberation of oppressed people is represented primarily by Palestinian terrorists.
همیشه دستگاه‌های ظلم و جور در سطح دنیا به شکل‌های مختلف بر مردم جفا کردند، بشریت را زیر فشار قرار دادند، انسان‌ها را از حقوق طبیعی خودشون محروم کردند. اما امروز این معنا از همیشه تاریخ بیشتر است و این را انسان از ظهور مهدی موعود می‌طلبد و انتظار می‌برد. اعتقاد به مهدی موعود دلها را سرشار از نور امید می‌کند. برای ما که معتقد به آینده حتمی ظهور مهدی موعود علیه السلام هستیم، این یأسی که گریبانگیر بسیاری از نخبگان دنیاست، این یأس بی‌معناست. با ظلم، با مراکز قدرت ظالمانه می شود درگیر شد و در آینده نه فقط این معنا امکان پذیر است بلکه حتمی است. وقتی کسی معتقد است که نقشه ظالمانه و شیطانی امروز دنیا قابل تغییر است، در کل عالم قابل تغییر است، وقتی این اعتقاد در یک انسانی، در یک ملتی به وجود آمد، اون ملت شجاعت پیدا می کند، احساس می کند که دست تقدیر تسلط ستمگران را برای همیشه به طور مسلم ننوشته است.
What does this have to do with the timing of a promised retaliatory attack led by Iran? If you are not yet a subscriber to endtimes.com and would like to see the rest of this report and others like it, I urge you to subscribe right now at the website endtimes.com. For only $7 a month, you will receive a wealth of information and insight from Jimmy Evans, Mark Hitchcock, and experts from around the world, including Israelis living right here in the Jewish state. Do yourself a favor and sign up today. Then join me as together we consider Iran's apparently imminent attack against the Jewish state of Israel.